Hey, what's up, world? So this your boy Chris Lee, aka Tony, represents San Antonio, singer, songwriter, producer, audio engineer of United Destiny Entertainment. Check this out. Today, what I want to talk to you guys about today is the importance of mastering. Now, I did a video about this before, but I'm gonna kind of just get straight to it and hopefully be able to probably try to reference some kind of stuff for you guys to be able to let you guys hear it and know the difference. Right off the bat, let me explain something to you guys. When you're talking about mixing and mastering, there's a difference between those two properties. Mastering is like the final stage, um, getting the album, CDs, and the music ready for CD production, duplication, stuff like that. Um, Not only that, it's pretty much a stage of cleaning it up, cleaning the track up, making the track sound louder, more industry standard. Um, and mastering is something. Pretty much what you do is you take a stereo track, and once the stereo track is already mixed down, bounced down, or whatever, ready to go for you to master it, it's the mastering job's engineer to, just make that track sound more industry standard. Try to do what he can and make it CD duplication ready to be able to be passed out and distributed to the world, obviously. So some things that a mastering engineer um, or anybody who's about to master a track, what they'll do is say if with the whole track being played, there's certain frequencies inside of that track. Say for instance, like the instruments, guitars, vocals, whatever that may be. If certain things sound muddy or a little bit dull, then the mastering engineer, with his skills and talent, is able to go in that track, open it up a little bit, and just focus on that one point of those frequencies, those instruments, those vocals, whatever it may be, make them brighter, boost them up a little bit more, and kind of either make them stand out, be balanced more in the track, or whatever that may be. The mastering engineer also can go on the track, and if something is too sharp or bright, the mastering engineer is able to open it up, uh, kind of round off those high frequencies so they're not ear piercing, and be able to limit them and bring them down or compress them down. Limit them, be able to bring them down to be able to make the track more balanced. So everything in the track sits balanced and sits well together instead of something being too loud or something being too low, or if the bass ain't strong enough, the mastering engineer is able to open it up and go into low frequencies and boost some of that low end to make the track knock a little bit harder. So it's real important to get your tracks mastered. As far as the mixing stage, the mixing stage to me is the most important phase before even getting your track mastered. Or in general, it's real important to keep in mind the proper techniques and procedures that you need to take to be able to get the track sounding to where it needs to be. So I'm going to tell you straight off the back, and I'm going to just go straight into it. When it comes to getting the track to sound good, one of the most important things that you need to keep in mind is not just the mixing and mastering process, but what you're doing as far as sending the vocals in to Pro Tools or whatever DAW or in analog, whatever you may be recording. You need to focus on what you're doing to make the track and the vocals sound good going inside of your DAW. For instance, vocals. If you're going to record vocals, um, any home studio, recording studio, professional studio, whatever that may be, it's important to keep your room treated right off the back. Room treatment is the most important thing in the whole recording process, the whole mixing and mastering process. Room treatment is the number one key thing to getting your recordings sounding where they need to be. So right off the back, if you're recording in vocals and you want to record in, say, a room, if you record in a room, it'd behoove you and be beneficial for you to get room treatment for the room to eliminate some of that natural room ambience and room acoustics, so you're able to do more inside of your DAW. The more dry your vocals are, then that's the more options you're able to give a mixing or mastering engineer to be able to do cool things like effects and reverbs and EQs. everything that we do in mixing and mastering is all about frequencies. Reverbs, delays, all that deals with frequencies. So it's important uh, to have your room space, wherever you're recording, treated properly to be able to mix and master your vocals effectively inside of a program. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people out there who like the natural room ambience and room acoustics when they're trying to record vocals or instruments. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just know that when you do that, you kind of limit yourself of what you can do effects-wise inside of a DAW. Some people like going straight natural to where they like the room acoustics and stuff like that. Me personally, I more prefer to work with dry vocals, so I'm able to do a lot of things inside of a DAW as far as effects and processing and stuff like that. Um, so signal chain, recording inside of a treated room is real important. So you want to treat your room right off the back. The next important thing is mic placement. You want to find a spot in the room wherever you're recording at. A lot of people don't have a lot of money, so they're not recording always in big studios. And if they are recording in big studios, mic placement is still important in big studios, no matter what recording studio you're in. Mic placement is always important, whether it's for instruments, guitar cabinets, bass cabinets, vocals, whatever that may be. You want to find a spot in the room wherever you're recording at to where sonically it just sounds better. So if you were to record, say, in a corner and your room was treated, but it sounded better in the middle of the room, then it will behoove you and it's beneficial for you to move to the middle of the room if you get a better sound. I like to walk around the room and clap different places in a room because sometimes you get a lot of different sounds. It's usually the same way when you're recording drums and stuff. Sometimes drums can sound better in a certain area of the room than in the middle of the room or isolated booth or whatever that may be. So you do what you need to do to make the vocals or the drums or the instrument sound the best as possible going inside of your DAW or recording to tape, analog tape. So with that being said, a lot of you vocalists, like clients that I get, like to record in these open rooms with no kind of room treatment. Some like to record in bathrooms and living rooms and stuff like that. That's all cool and dandy, but be mindful. If you want your vocals to sound professional, you have to treat it in a professional way. You got to be a bit more professional about how you're handling your recordings and what you're doing to get your recordings to sound good. If you want the engineer, like I said, to be able to do more stuff with your vocals, then you got to start being a bit more professional. Get some room treatment, record inside of an ISO booth, correct mic placement, stuff like that. That's going to help your recording sound real good. So a lot of you clients and stuff who like to send engineers or mastering engineers, mixing engineers, whatever that may be, to mix and master your stuff, don't be surprised when they have a hard time or it's not getting, it's not able to sound the way that you want it to sound. It's not their fault. It's because you didn't take the proper procedure that you needed to take to be able to make the track sound good. I'm talking from both sides of the window. For years, I've been an audio engineer. For years, I've been an artist, singing, rapping, producing, making beats, the whole 9 yards. And what I found in my time of recording, I felt that it was real important for me to get the proper signal chain, proper mic placement, decent gear, and my room treated correctly to be able to get good recordings. And then once I started going into the mixing and mastering phases, that's when my recordings started to sound better. But when I didn't take pride and didn't act professional about recording my recordings in a professional way, a lot of my recordings, they sounded like shit. They didn't sound professional because I was recording in an open space with no room treatment. And you know what I'm saying, I was at one point recording with headphones, open back headphones, that was bleeding into the microphone, that was causing a lot of phase issues when I was trying to mix inside of my Pro Tools or Cubase or whatever program that may be. So that's something else that you need to consider. getting some good headphones, closed back headphones, and make sure that you tell your engineer to turn the volume down a little bit so the volume of the music is not bleeding into the microphone at the same time that you're trying to record. Because if you're trying to record, say for instance, you use a de-esser, um, when you're trying to use a de-esser to be able to cut out some of those S sounds, the high sibilants, uh, high frequency sounds, like the de-esser won't work properly because you got a lot of the high frequencies that's coming from the headphone that was bleeding into the microphone at the same time that you were rapping or singing your vocals, and that de-esser won't work properly. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. Just turn your volume down a little bit. But my biggest advice that I'm trying to give you guys really is be mindful of what you're doing to record inside of the program. Room treatment, the placement, mic placement, how far away that you're away from the microphone. The closer you are to the microphone, it's going to pick up more low frequencies. If you're about 3-4 inches away, it'll be probably just right. And if you want to, it all depends on the sound that you're going for, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But just make sure that you record properly going inside of your DAW. The better you get it to sound going in, then the better it's going to sound coming out once we start mixing and mastering your material. So that's a key point. Now, the mixing process in general, the mixing process all is based on the balancing. It's all based on the editing. It's all based on the effects. It's all based on the stereo imaging. Just, applying EQs, compressors, reverbs, basically getting the track ready, balanced, wise, and sonically sounding nice before we send it off to get mastered. That's really key. A lot of people and clients and stuff who send me their material send me a lot of these projects that they want me to master, and the engineer, you can tell what kind of engineers you're dealing with based off how the track sounds. Some of them I deal with, I know that they're really good engineers just by hearing what they did, because I have a good ear for music and what it's supposed to sound like. I can listen to a track and know exactly what certain engineers did, whether they dubbed the verses, whether they tried to, put certain kind of effects or whatever, EQs and compressors, how much of the frequencies they either boosted or cut it. I'm able to hear that kind of stuff. And a lot of these engineers that I get that send these projects with these artists over to me, they do a horrible job. You can tell that, they're unprofessional big time, because it sounds like they recorded in a damn bathroom, or they're recording in a room, but they got kids or they homeboys getting blunted, smoking weed in the background and talking and stuff and all that kind of stuff. Or they got babies crying in the background and all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that I feel like is very unprofessional. Whatever engineer allows an artist to do that, then he's not very professional. And that's just my opinion. I mean, you're going to hear a lot of people say that. So don't expect to send me over a track with you spitting your vocals, you spitting your heart out, but you got dogs barking in the background that you couldn't hear before. Because once you send me that track, I start EQing, applying compressors, boosting stuff, making stuff louder, making stuff stand out more. All the stuff that you couldn't hear before, you're going to be able to hear that. So you're going to hear dogs barking in the background, or babies crying, or your homeboys doing whatever while they're in the room recording with you. Like, be a bit more professional. Try to eliminate some of that stuff as much as you can. Try to record in the space that don't have a lot of that going on. I'm real serious when it comes to recording artists and stuff like that. So if I have an artist recording, if I feel like some of his friends or whatever is going to be a big distraction or affecting the way that the recording sound, I'm going to simply say, hey, I need you to step out. I'm trying to get this recording to sound as professional as possible, and you're in the background having a conversation, and I can't have that. You're killing my vibe. You're affecting my environment right now, and I'm gonna need you to either leave, keep your mouth closed, or step out, something like that. Whatever you need to tell them. And if the artist is serious about his material, then he would just not bring people like that next time, or just say, hey, like, you need to either keep it down, or Oh, you're gonna have to leave. I'm trying to get this recording done. That's just that's just the way it is. Ain't no way around it. Uh, so just keep that kind of stuff in mind. Now, why it's so important to get your tracks mastered is because there are a lot of good engineers out here, and people think that once they get a good mixing and balancing from the track from the mix engineer, a lot of them think that that's it because they're not trained to really know what the standard is of the state that they live in or the radio stations or what mastering standards is. Um, it's really important. There's a lot of good engineers out here, so they'll mix it and balance the track, and you think, oh damn man, the track sounds so good. Like, yeah, that's cool. Like, that's good. I mean, I commend mix engineers like that because I'm like that. I like to mix on the fly as it go, and I like to mix and balance that I do for any track to almost sound as if it's mastered. I take pride in that because I mean you did a good ass job in mixing the track, and that's always a good thing. But if the track sounds that good mixed, imagine what the track can sound like mastered. So imagine what the engineer did mixing that track, how good it sound mixed, and imagine the mastering engineer able to boost and make stuff louder, and make stuff pop more, and stand out more, and knock more uh, at industry standard level. When you take that to the club, anywhere you take it, I mean, that track is going to knock. It's going to sound sonically the best way it can. It's going to sound clear. It's going to sound strong, powerful. And that's what you want to get out of mastering. Um, so a lot of you out there who like to get your tracks mixed by a great engineer, that's good. But take it to the next level. That's the most important part. Get it ready for iTunes or CD distribution or CD duplication, whatever you may be doing. That's the next step that you want to do. If you really want people in the industry to check out who you are and how good your music is, you don't want to send them some okay material. You want to send them the best material that you can, sonically wise, so that gives them the urge to even want to listen to the track. That's the beauty of being an audio engineer, sound engineer in general. We do things no matter how good the artist is. The artist can be garbage. Uh, and not all the time. This definitely ain't always the case, but the artist can be garbage. And what we do as a mix and mastering engineer, sound engineer, audio engineer, whatever that may be, is we do things to it frequency wise, mix and mastering to make it sound so good that it at least makes people, give people the urge to at least want to listen to the track. And that's exactly what you want to do. If you're not giving artists, uh, or any of your viewers a chance to even want to listen to the track because it sounds so damn crappy, then you're only hurting yourself, and you not want to pay extra money to go get your stuff mixed and mastered properly. Then why even be an artist? Because if you think that people with trained ears want to hear crappy music or shitty music, then you're absolutely wrong. I don't care what you're doing lyrically. You can be putting all kind of music lyrically, but it means nothing to anybody if it don't sound good. And that's what you want. That's the main goal, is to make every track that you put out, you want it to sound good, and that's all that matters. If it sound good, then that gives people a chance to listen to what you actually got. If it don't, then people might not play at all and just skip the track. The next thing uh, that I want to talk to you guys about is if you're gonna put these tracks out to the world, come up with some kind of game plan. Um, just mixing and mastering. If you got some kind of album that you want your tracks to sound like, then like I said, take the proper procedure into treating your room, mic placement, the gear wise, what you're doing vocally. Record it going good inside of your DAW, the better the sound coming out. If you want your tracks to sound like certain industry artists, um, albums and stuff like that to be able to use as a reference, then make sure you take the proper steps to do that. And that's the best thing that you want any mix and mastering engineer, audio engineer, sound engineer, it doesn't matter. If you want your track to sound like a certain album, then help them accomplish that by doing your part. If you help them accomplish that by doing your part, then it'll be a lot easier for us to do our part in the recording studio because that's just what we do. But help us achieve that. This is a working thing together. It's not just all mix engineer, mastering engineer. It's from the artists to the producers to the mix engineers, the mastering engineers, management. Everybody's is putting in ingredients to make the best dish possible as far as your material. So keep that in mind. You got all these albums and stuff that you like. You got a favorite artist that you want your album to sound like. Help us accomplish that and we'll get it done. So with this video, I'm going to try to put a little snippet at the end of this video to try to let y'all hear like a reference track of something that I'm working on, an artist, and you'll be able to hear the difference from the first unmastered track to the second mastered snippet track. And it's not fully completely done. I just want you guys to be able to hear the difference. So I hope this video helped. Please subscribe, share this video. This video is important. A lot of people don't know this kind of stuff because there's not too many people on YouTube talking about it. I will put a link to my mixtape in the description box so you guys can be able to check out my latest work. And hope you guys subscribe. Leave comments. Let me know what you think. Yeah, it's Chris Lee, aka Tony. Enjoy.
So do you want this love I have that wants you to be you? Flaws and all, I just want you to understand. See, you'll never know another love, and you'll never know another one who will love you like I do. Yeah, I just wanna hold you. I just wanna keep you. I just wanna love. So do you want this love I have that wants you to be you? Flaws and all, I just want you to